Therefore I have hewn them by the prophets. So since we know that people are as trees and we are supposed to give fruit, and we see in Hebrews 13:15 that we must give sacrifice of praise, which is fruit of lips that confess his name. So when we confess his name, his true name, of course, then we are given a good fruit from our lips. But when somebody confesses a false name, wrong words, etc., they are given bad fruit, and a tree which gives bad fruit is cut. As Yahushua the Mercer said, the axe is already placed at the root of the tree, and those trees which do not give fruit will be cut and thrown in the fire. So there are some who are trees that do not give fruit. There are some others who give bad fruit. They are both bad, as Ephraim and Yehudah. So therefore I have hewn them by the prophets. So the prophets are like axes. That's why I have explained that the axe that the prophet was able to bring from the bottom of the river by throwing a stick into the river represents the last, because the last was lost. But when the sacrifice of Mashiach on the tree, on the wooden cross, was thrown, then the last was able to rise up. And the last comes as a prophet, the prophet like Moshe, also sacrificed, so it has a part of wood, but it's covered in iron to be able to cut, because the last comes to rule with a rod of iron, as the iron horn, also as prophesied, the iron horn of Jerusalem, and dressed in red as Edom, and Asaph is the one who became Rome. I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and your judgments are like light that goes forth. And your judgments are like light that goes forth. And another translation, or let me see here in Hebrew, verse 5, and your judgments like the light coming out, or like the light that came out. So meaning the judgments on the people are clear to Yahweh, and just as the light comes out in the morning, so everything will be revealed, like light that goes forth. Therefore I have hewn them by the prophets, I have slain them by the words of my mouth. The prophets like the voice, words of my mouth like Yahushua the word, who is the sword. That's why I slain them by the words of my mouth. The sword of the Spirit is the word of Yahweh. So that is important, because we see in Revelation when Yahushua, well, Mashiach, speaks to the congregations in the letters that he sent them, he says he will come and fight with those who have turned against Yahweh, or going the wrong way in the apostasy, and fight with them with the sword of his mouth. So it is also written that he won't destroy the evil one with weapons, literal weapons, with a sword or a bow, but with the ruach of his mouth, which actually is represented by a sword, and when it goes very far, by the arrow thrown with a bow. But once is the metaphorical, which Yahweh uses a lot, and obviously another one to actually use a weapon to hit somebody and kill him. So Yahweh speaks that when he comes as the last, he will fight, but in a spiritual sense. So that's why it says, I have slain them by the words of my mouth.